In season 9, the final season of Seinfeld, the 4 main cast members were each earning $1 million per episode. That's more than most people make in 20 years for a single week of work. But here's the part nobody ever talks about. Some of the people on this show, people who showed up on screen week after week, who you still quote to this day, walked away with almost nothing. Today on Then and Still, we're going through the entire Seinfeld cast. Salary, net worth, what they looked like then, what they look like now in 2026. And trust me, some of these stories are going to surprise you. Here's the format. We're going from the bottom up. We start with the supporting cast. I'll show you then and now, break down exactly what they earned on the show, and tell you what they've been doing since the finale in 1998. Some of these people never worked again at the same level. Some quietly became millionaires, and one of them is worth more than $1 billion. Let's get into it. Heidi Swedberg, Susan Ross. You know her as Susan Ross, George Costanza's long-suffering fiancée. Susan first appeared in season 4 and kept coming back right up to the season 7 finale, where her character was famously killed off after licking toxic glue on her own wedding invitation envelopes. Dark? Absolutely. Hilarious? The show thought so. Now, here's the tragic behind-the-scenes reality that came out years later. In 2015, Jason Alexander, who played George, actually admitted publicly that the writers decided to kill Susan off partly because the cast found it so difficult to work with Heidi on set. He said it was genuinely hard to stay in character in her scenes. That is brutal. Getting written out of a hit show that you helped build, and then finding out years later it was partly personal. So what did she earn? As a recurring supporting actress, Heidi was likely earning somewhere in the range of $5,000 to $15,000 per episode in the mid-90s. She appeared in 27 episodes total, not the million-dollar paychecks of the main cast. And here's what Heidi looks like today. After Seinfeld, she kept acting, guest spots on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Gilmore Girls, Wizards, Waverly Place, and more. But eventually, she stepped away from Hollywood entirely. Today, she teaches music, plays the ukulele, and performs with her 2 bands, Heidi Swedberg and the Suki Jump Band, and the Smoking Jackets. She writes for Ukulele magazine. By all accounts, she found her peace. Net worth in 2026, around $300,000. Not the Seinfeld money, but she made a life she clearly loves. And honestly, that's more than a lot of people can say. If you don't immediately remember the name, you absolutely remember the character, J. Peterman, Elaine's eccentric, overly dramatic boss at the J. Peterman catalog. He showed up in season 6 in 1995 and became a fan favorite almost instantly. The theatrical monologues, the adventure stories, the complete lack of self-awareness. O'Hurley played it with a perfectly straight face, and that made it genius. He appeared in 20 episodes and was earning somewhere between $20,000 to $40,000 per episode at the peak of his run. Solid money for a supporting role. Here's John today, and here's where his story gets genuinely interesting, because John O'Hurley didn't just move on from Seinfeld. He actually bought into the brand he was playing. He became a co-owner of the real J. Peterman Company, the actual catalog business. He hosted Family Feud, he competed on the first season of Dancing with the Stars, he wrote books, invested in tech, and became a regular face on game shows and variety television. Net worth in 2026 is estimated at around $8.5 to $12 million. He turned a TV character into a genuine business venture. That's not nothing. That's actually impressive. Richard Hurd played Mr. Wilhelm, the Yankee Stadium executive and one of George Costanza's most exasperated bosses. He appeared in 19 episodes and delivered some genuinely underrated comedic moments, playing straight man to George's chaos. Hurd was a working character actor for decades. You'd recognize his face from dozens of shows and films, even if you couldn't name him. Richard Hurd passed away on May 26, 2020, at the age of 87. He had been battling cancer. Right up to the end, he was still working, making appearances in film and television well into his 80s. He leaves behind a legacy built quietly, episode by episode, over a career spanning more than 50 years. Rest well, Mr. Wilhelm. Patrick Warburton, David Puddy, Elaine's on-again, off-again boyfriend who loved the New Jersey Devils, gave the highest of high fives, and once sat on a plane for hours, staring straight ahead, doing absolutely nothing. Puddy was in only 10 episodes. 10! And he became one of the most beloved characters in the entire show's run. That tells you everything you need to know about Patrick Warburton's screen presence. He likely earned around $20,000 to $30,000 per episode during his appearances. Not the biggest paycheck, but Seinfeld was not where Patrick built his fortune. Because that voice, that deep, deadpan, unmistakable voice, turned Patrick Warburton into one of the most in-demand voice actors in Hollywood. He's been a main character on Family Guy. He voiced the Emperor's New Groove. He starred in Rules of Engagement, The Tick, and Venture Bros. His face and voice are all over commercials: Honda, American Express, National Car Rental. Net worth in 2026, around $20 million. David Puddy showed up 10 times, and it was enough to build a career. That's the Warburton effect. Len Lesser, Uncle Leo. Jerry's uncle, who popped up in 26 episodes across the entire run of the show. Always lurking, always eating, always suspicious that someone was anti-Semitic. Hello! If you heard that in his voice just now, you understand exactly why he's on this list. Lesser was a veteran character actor who'd been working since the 1950s. Films, westerns, television dramas. Seinfeld gave him his most iconic role late in his career, and he wore it beautifully. Len Lesser passed away on February 16, 2011. He was 88 years old. His career spanned over 6 decades, and to millions of Seinfeld fans, he will always be Uncle Leo. Paranoid, persistent, and unforgettable. Hello, and goodbye, Uncle Leo. You are missed. Liz Sheridan played Helen Seinfeld, Jerry's mother. Warm, slightly neurotic, endlessly proud of her son in that particular way that only television mothers manage to be. She appeared in 20 episodes and brought a real tenderness to the Seinfeld family scenes. What most people don't know is that Liz Sheridan had a fascinating life before Seinfeld. She was a former dancer and singer, and she was once in a serious relationship with James Dean in the 1950s. She later wrote a book about it. Liz Sheridan passed away on April 15, 2022, at the age of 93. She passed just one day after the death of her on-screen husband, Barney Martin, who played Morty Seinfeld. They died one day apart. Her estimated net worth at the time was around $15 million, a lifetime of work in film, television, and stage, capped by one of TV's most beloved sitcoms. She was 93 years old. What a life. Estelle Harris. The name alone might make you tense up, because Estelle Costanza, George's mother, is one of the most iconic, most shrieked, and most perfectly cast characters in the history of American television. Estelle Harris appeared in 27 episodes across the show's run, and every single one was a masterclass in high-pitched, loving, devastating maternal chaos. The fights with Frank, the concern for George, the constant, relentless presence. Estelle Harris passed away on April 2, 2022, at the age of 93, just days after Easter. Her family confirmed she had been in declining health. The tributes poured in immediately. Jason Alexander posted a heartfelt remembrance. The Seinfeld cast and crew paid tribute to one of the truly irreplaceable parts of the show. Net worth at the time of her passing was estimated at around $3 million. Not the numbers of the main cast, but she gave the show some of its most iconic moments, and she never stopped working. Estelle Harris, irreplaceable. And then there's Frank Costanza, Jerry Stiller, George's father, the man who gave us Festivus. Jerry Stiller didn't join the show until season 5, when he replaced the original actor who played Frank Costanza. And once he arrived, he owned the role completely. Volcanic, explosive, somehow deeply emotional underneath all the yelling. Festivus, the airing of grievances, the feats of strength. Jerry Stiller made all of it immortal. He appeared in 26 episodes, and his salary would have been in the range of $15,000 to $30,000 per episode at the peak of his Seinfeld run. Jerry Stiller passed away on May 11, 2020, at the age of 92, just weeks before Richard Herd. He had been in natural decline. His son Ben Stiller announced his passing on Twitter with a simple, heartfelt message. Net worth at the time of his passing was estimated at around $14 million. A full, remarkable life. Half of the legendary comedy duo Stiller and Mara with his wife Ann Mara, father of Ben Stiller and Amy Stiller, and to millions of people, forever Frank Costanza. A Festivus for the rest of us. Before we get to the big four, and I promise you, Jerry's final number is something else, because Newman isn't just a character, Newman is a phenomenon. Wayne Knight as Newman, Jerry's nemesis, the postal worker next door who hated everything Jerry stood for and made it his life's mission to be a nuisance about it. He appeared in 45 episodes, more than almost any other supporting character, and every single one was gold. Wayne Knight was not always Newman. Before Seinfeld, he had already appeared in Basic Instinct and had a memorable role as Dennis Nedry, the guy who got eaten by the dinosaur in Jurassic Park in 1993. He was a working actor with range, but Newman made him a household name. On the show, his salary scaled from around $5,000 per episode in his early seasons all the way up to $40,000 per episode by the later seasons. Total earnings from Seinfeld, roughly $1.2 million. After Seinfeld, Wayne had a long run on Third Rock from the Sun, 64 episodes on The X's, roles in Space Jam, Toy Story 2 as a voice actor, Kung Fu Panda, and dozens of other projects. He's also been smart with real estate, owning multiple properties across the country. Net worth in 2026 is estimated at around $8 to $10 million. For a man whose most famous line was just someone else's name said with contempt, that's a remarkable outcome. Now, from the supporting world to the Fab Four. Michael Richards, Cosmo Kramer. Where do you even begin? Kramer was not just a character, he was a physical phenomenon. The entrance through the door, the way he fell, the way he ran, the way he reacted to literally everything. Michael Richards won 3 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series for this role. 3, the only Seinfeld cast member to do that. He appeared in 170 out of 180 episodes. His salary journey? Around $20,000 per episode in the early seasons, scaling to $150,000, and then to $600,000 per episode in the final season. His total earnings from Seinfeld alone, approximately $45 million. Here's Michael Richards today. He largely disappeared from public life for years. Then in 2024, he came back with a memoir called Entrances and Exits. In it, he addresses the 2006 incident directly and honestly. He revealed he had secretly battled stage 1 prostate cancer in 2018. He talked about decades of feeling inadequate as a performer. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that he dove into the deep end and tried to actually learn from the crisis inside him, not just manage the PR of it. He also appeared publicly at the premiere of Jerry Seinfeld's 2024 Netflix film, Unfrosted. For many fans, that was a relief to see. Net worth in 2026 is estimated at around $30 million. For a man whose most famous line was just someone else's name said with contempt, that's a remarkable outcome. Jason Alexander, George Costanza. George Costanza is one of the greatest television characters ever written. Neurotic, petty, brilliant, selfish, occasionally tender, perpetually self-sabotaging, And Jason Alexander played every note of it to absolute perfection. He received 7 Emmy nominations for this role and 4 Golden Globe nominations. His salary arc, starting at around $20,000 per episode in season 1, up to $150,000 per episode through the middle seasons, and then $600,000 per episode in the final season. Total base salary from Seinfeld, approximately $45 million. After Seinfeld, the show's shadow was long. The so-called Seinfeld curse hit all 3 supporting stars. None of them successfully launched another sitcom as a lead. Jason's Bob Patterson was canceled quickly. But unlike Michael, Jason didn't disappear. He kept working. Broadway, voice work, guest roles on Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Monk, 2.5 Men. He directed, he produced. Here's Jason today. Still working, still self-aware about George's shadow, he's talked openly in interviews about the blessing and the burden of playing one of TV's most beloved characters. Net worth in 2026 is estimated at $50 million. Not what it could have been, but built honestly over decades of persistent, often underrated work. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Elaine Bennis. Elaine Bennis was groundbreaking, a female character on a show that refused to reduce her to a stereotype. She was opinionated, complicated, selfish, and hilarious. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus was, and is, one of the greatest comedic performers who has ever lived. She appeared in 177 of 180 episodes, earning 1 Emmy during her Seinfeld run. Not bad for someone whose character was famously told she had man hands. Her salary started at around $20,000 per episode, up to $150,000 through the middle seasons, and $600,000 per episode in the final season. Total base salary from Seinfeld, approximately $45 million. Then, in September 2017, the day after she won her 6th Emmy, she announced she had been diagnosed with breast cancer. She underwent chemotherapy and surgery, and in October 2018, she announced she was cancer-free. She finished Veep and didn't miss a beat. Here's Julia today, still active, still winning, still the most decorated comedic actress in Emmy history. And here's where the family money comes in. Her father, Gerard Louis-Dreyfus, was a billionaire, chairman of the Louis-Dreyfus Company, a global commodities giant. He passed away in 2016. Julia comes from extraordinary wealth, independent of her acting career entirely. Net worth in 2026, approximately $250 million. She is, without question, the biggest post-Seinfeld success story in the entire cast. And then there's Jerry. Jerry Seinfeld created this show with Larry David in 1989. It ran 9 seasons, 180 episodes, and it became, without exaggeration, one of the most profitable television franchises in the history of the medium. His salary progression tells the whole story. Season 1, $20,000 per episode for a 5-episode run. Seasons 2 and 3, $40,000 per episode. Seasons 4, 5, and 6, $100,000 per episode. Seasons 7 and 8, $500,000 per episode. And Season 9, $1 million per episode. He was the first actor in television history to earn $1 million per episode. NBC actually offered him $5 million per episode to do a 10th season. He turned it down. He wanted to end it at its peak. Total salary from the show itself, somewhere north of $60 million. But that number is almost irrelevant when you get to the real money. Because Jerry Seinfeld owns 15% of the show's back-end equity. He and Larry David negotiated that before the show even aired. When Seinfeld went into syndication in the mid-90s, they were splitting hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Between 1998 and 2013 alone, the show generated $3 billion in syndication. Netflix paid more than $500 million to secure global streaming rights. The total franchise revenue by 2026 is estimated at around $5 billion, meaning Jerry's 15% stake has paid out somewhere in the range of $750 million just from syndication and streaming. Then you add the touring. He still performs 80 or more shows per year at $100,000 to $150,000 a night. The Netflix deal, worth an estimated $100 million, that included comedians in cars getting coffee, 2 stand-up specials, and the 2024 film Unfrosted. And then the assets. Here is Jerry Seinfeld in 2026. He owns approximately 150 cars, around 45 of them Porsches, with a collection estimated at close to $100 million. The centerpiece is the Porsche 917 that Steve McQueen drove in the 1971 film Le Mans. He owns a 12-acre oceanfront estate in the Hamptons that he bought from Billy Joel in 2000 for $32 million, and that is now estimated at $70 to $100 million based on comparable nearby sales. Net worth? Forbes placed him on the Forbes 400 Wealthiest Americans list at $1.1 billion. Bloomberg's Billionaires Index has reported the same figure. His own representatives called the number inaccurate, which is, when you think about it, the most Seinfeld answer to a Seinfeld question ever. Whether it's $900 million or $1.1 billion, Jerry Seinfeld is the wealthiest entertainer ever associated with a sitcom. The show about nothing made him worth everything. So there it is. The complete then and still breakdown of the Seinfeld cast, from the woman who earns $300,000 and teaches ukulele, all the way up to the man worth over $1 billion, who still performs stand-up 80 times a year because he genuinely loves it. What makes this story so remarkable isn't just the money, it's what happened after. The cast members who hit the curse head-on and kept going anyway. The supporting players who lived full lives far outside the frame. The ones we lost, Jerry Stiller, Estelle Harris, Len Lesser, Liz Sheridan, and Richard Hurd, who gave the show pieces of themselves that still make people laugh every single day, on Netflix, everywhere in the world. Seinfeld didn't just change television, it changed what was possible on television. And its cast, every one of them, is part of that legacy.